Alright guys, I'm going to be installing the 22mm rear sway bar from Alta. So there's the rear sway bar. You can see with the stops there for the bushings, and then the welded on ends, and 3 adjusting points. So first off guys, we're going to be jacking up the rear end, get it both tires off the ground and on a level position. So here we go. Alright guys, so what we're going to be removing today is this guy. We're taking this off, we're taking the shock off, and we're going to be taking those 2 bolts in there off. And then also some of the subframe bolts here. There's one here and one in the middle there. So let's get going. So to remove this guy, you're going to need a 16mm open-end wrench and a Allen key, 3/16 Allen key to get inside that right there so it doesn't spin. Alright guys, so to remove the shock, you're going to need to remove 2 bolts up here, which are 13mm, and 1 bolt down at the bottom, which is 18mm. But be careful, you got to remove the brake lines and e-brake line. So, alright guys, so now that we have the subframe bolts, the shock off, we're going to be taking that bushing off there, and that's a 13mm. Got 1 on each side. Alright guys, so now that those bushings are off, it's time to get this guy out. But we need a little more space here on both sides to squeeze it through. So let's work on that and get the thing out. Alright, so now that the stock one's out, we're going to put the new one in. Now you see that little flange on top? Right up there? Make sure that's pointed up. Okay. And let's go ahead and take a look at the tube. Look at the difference of this thing. This is almost an inch. That's just about a half an inch, maybe 5/8. So there's quite a bit of difference. Plus you got the adjustability. So, alright, let's get this thing slid back in. Alright guys, now that this thing's in here, just go ahead and put these guys loosely on. Don't tighten them up too much. You just want to be able to get them on so it doesn't move and you know, it's in place. Now you're going to want to get these guys, new bushings that came with it, and brackets and all that, and the grease. Alright. Alright guys, so I got these grommets back on. I'm going to slide the bracket back over it. Okay, it's a little tight of course. And another thing I want to say is this guy I put in the middle, like everyone's been recommending. See how it runs there, and we'll adjust it later. Alright guys, so this was a little tight to get on. I was able to get this screw in, but this one was not able to get it in because this thing was sitting up too high. So what I wound up doing was getting vice grips out and clamping it down enough to get a few threads on started. Once it's on, you can tighten it all the way down and no one's the wiser. So there's one little trick. Alright, so now that those guys are tight on both sides, we're going to put the front bracing back in, and then we'll do this one. The reason for that is to get alignment. What you're going to need to do is put a jack underneath here and lift up a little bit to close this gap and kind of line things up in that back hole as well. Alright, now that the subframe bolts are tightened back up to 74 foot-pounds torque, it's time to hook up the shocks again. We're going to be mount them back in those 2 holes there first, and then we'll do the bottom. And then we'll get to tightening up the sway bar. His wheels are back on, everything's tightened up. I'll take her for a test drive and see how she feels. That took me all of 2 hours to do that guy. I was setting up tools, jacking it up, taking wheels off, the whole deal, putting the wheels back on, and doing a full test drive on it. So there you go. 2 hours, easily can be done. Alright, good luck guys.